Imagine if that head trash was not there. Who would you be? What if I told you those fears were no longer a problem? What would you do? I'm Stephanie Costello, a mom of three, wife, and avid mountaineer. Beyond all of these, I am very much like you, an average person trying to navigate this thing we call life. My goal with this podcast is to bring to light the truth about what intimacy really is. You may smile, feel called out, or learn something new. Either way, you will learn you are in control. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing Linda Spinelli, an accounting professional with 20 years of experience in this industry. She specializes in external controller services, but also just straight up bookkeeping. A partner in her services that she provides, she is always willing to try to grow and learn and stay ahead of industry standards to best serve her clients, breaking the stereotype of those stuffy professional firms. She helps small business owners manage their business finances, but not in a complicated accounting jargon way, aka keeping it simple. Honesty and her drive to provide a great customer experience has proven to be the keys to her success. Her passion is growing her business and yours, and she loves what she does. All righty. Hello, Linda, and welcome to the Intimacy Truth Podcast.
Hi, Stephanie. Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here. So today we're going to talk about self-confidence in relationships, and I'm very excited to have you. I know that your journey has been a wavelength, which all of our journeys are really waves. So tell us, how did you get from this place of your self-confidence being challenged to really strong?
Well, I would say it was a couple of different things. Two things really I could narrow it down to.
Yeah.
I happened to join a networking group for work. And in that networking group, I met this really great girl named Stephanie. And she was so kind and invited me to get to know her and welcome me into the group. And we had an amazing conversation, really. And that led to wow, a lot, really.
Yeah, that opened up a whole can of worms for you. I'm surprised. I was actually thinking there might have been a few other steps before that started your journey. No?
No,
Okay.
Prior to that, were there some things? Yes. The biggest change in my life in the past year was becoming an empty nester. That was huge, right? You sort of come to this, I really came to this like self analytical phase of trying to figure out, what's going to be different now. I felt this weird freedom, which, up until then it was really 24/7 being a mom, being a wife, and I did feel that I wanted to kind of get a grip on some of the struggles that I'd had, that I may not have prioritized before because I had other things, right? As a mom,
Absolutely.
you're always prioritizing your kids,
Yeah.
but it's at what cost, right? So, I thought I need to start doing that. So I reached out to get what I thought would be, I thought I wanted to talk to a psychiatrist. I thought maybe that would be a good journey for me. Like maybe they could assist me. Maybe I needed to be on prescription. I didn't know,
Yeah.
I thought I felt like there was something I needed, right? And so that was the journey I was on when I joined.
Walked into this one-to-one.
Yes, so it's funny. Things don't happen for no good reason,
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. And I think we should shift the conversation from the self-confidence in relationships to self-confidence during change in life, because there's usually during any transition, there's this level of uncertainty, but also, okay, there's something I know I need to change. There's that inner feeling, that inner gut wisdom where you're like, something is off and I need to figure out what that off is. And with me, you kind of just walked into not knowing that I might be the right answer for you, which is really exciting that or I shouldn't say myself, but the program and the work and stuff that we do is very exciting. And often people they think, oh, there's something wrong. I might need medicine or all these other things. And really, there's a lot of really small internal shifts that we can try to figure out before we go to these really much bigger decisions. So awesome job.
Yeah. And honestly, like, I had considered, that journey for a while. I had in the past seen psychiatrists, and you and I know, we've
Yeah.
talked about this, right? And not that none of them were helpful. They were helpful in different ways at times in my
Yeah.
life when I needed them. Um, but in a practical way of resetting your brain and the way that you think and view things,
Mm,
they were never helpful.
yeah.
It's funny how, like, exactly what you just said, how to sort of tweak a few things, think about your world, your story in a different way.
Hmm.
All of a sudden, it's this very freeing experience,
Yeah.
you know?
Change how you view the world and the world changes.
Yep.
Very powerful quote. Absolutely. And so, the confidence piece. So through the program, you started to really figure out what your life goals were, and I don't know about goals, but more personal goals versus life goals, and your journey for yourself was super empowering. And so, you before we started recording, we started talking about feeling confident in your ability. So tell us how that transition happened for you, and where you are now.
Yeah. So in some of the conversations that we would have and the work that you put together in the modules in the program that you have,
Mm,
it sort of makes you question, why do you think the way that you do? Why do you question your abilities? Are you why do you believe these things about yourself?
mm.
And in questioning that, it sort of does make you feel a little silly for ever thinking that you couldn't succeed and believe that you had the abilities, because you've just lived the whole pattern of a life that's
Yeah.
proof that you had abilities. But yet you always seem to second guess. I always seem to second guess myself. I wasn't good enough, or I didn't have the skill set because my education level wasn't high enough, or I didn't, have a particular um, I didn't have people on my side making me feel like for some reason I was good enough.
Mm,
That I needed that. I needed someone else to tell me that I was
mm.
good enough versus that I should believe it myself because of the the life that I'd led, right? And I think that the program, the sort of really delving in and questioning and really being thoughtful about, you know, why? Why does my brain react the way that I do about things,
Mm,
And we were able to kind of pinpoint, well, you believe what people are telling you. When someone questions you, you automatically believe you're wrong. I think that was the knee jerk reaction I always had. I must be wrong. Let me go look into this. And when it was, probably what 90% of the time I wasn't wrong. It was that we were having a discussion about something,
right.
that's okay. You can be questioned about things, and there's probably a good explanation for it. Um, Instead of constantly thinking, oh my goodness, I need to go, I obviously made a mistake. I need to, that panicky
Yeah.
feeling of I've
Yeah.
made this error, but I constantly did that to myself. And this program sort of um, rewired me tell to sort of believe the stories that were actually true in my life,
Mm,
that I you know have a good skill set because I've been doing this for so long. I've
yes.
experienced that other people can't in the field that I'm in
Right.
because of the experiences that I've had,
Yeah.
um, and that I think that when you start to change the way that you take in people and what they say, that isn't a reflection of you, it's more a reflection of them.
Hmm.
That is very, that changes your view about
Very
how the
empowering.
conversations you're having. Yeah.
Very much so. Absolutely. And I would like to think too, more than rewired, maybe rewired a little bit, but also took your abilities and your strengths and applied them in other parts of your life. Some things I find in the work with working with people is they have this really strong strength in one area. Like recently, I was talking to a creative, and like no one touches my sketchbook, and this is my sketchbook. And even when people try to take it out of my hand and tell me what to write, I just have this knee-jerk reaction. I don't want to do what they want me to do. And then in relationships, I'm like, so why do you have such a strength over here, but not necessarily over here? So how can we build that strength and bring it in this area of your life, right? And so same thing with your natural ability to organize and being an organizational guru, which I will admit, I pretty organized, but I don't like mind numbing tasks. Something that I think is a mind numbing task is something that you're like, yes, let me dig in and
Yeah.
get all over. So tell us about the work that you do.
So I am a bookkeeper.
Yeah.
And I've been in the field now for about 20 years or more. I don't want to admit to more than that. It sort of gives away.
Yeah.
And I want to pretend I'm still 29. Right? Stephanie?
No, it's not fun at 29, I promise.
So yes, I've been doing this a really long time. And one of the great experiences that I've had is I have worked closely with a CPA in sort of acquiring a lot of the skill set that I have. And how that benefits, you as a client, or you as, someone in my life that is asking for some good financial advice, is that when we make entries as bookkeepers, the trickle down effect is your taxes, right? What can a bookkeeper do to save you money? Because that is the grand scheme of things, right? We need to categorize things properly. And the fact that I have worked with the CPA all these years gives me a little, leg up on that, because I'm always very interested in knowing, well, if you had a meal with your coworkers and it was a meeting about work, that would not go into your meals and entertainment expense account, because your meals and entertainment expense account is not 100% deductible.
Yeah.
And you had a company meeting. That's not the same. So those kind of little pieces of information that you may or may not, your normal bookkeeper may or may not know. I thrive on that kind of information. I love it.
Let me make you keep all the money. No,
Yes.
No government taking our money, right? Like,
Don't give it away to the evil empire. Exactly. Like, I feel like every dime that I save my client is money that I saved myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's how it feels. And I love it.
And even more than just taxes too, like time. I've got 3 kids. I don't have time to sit down and shuffle through all these freaking receipts that I have in a pile on my desk, right? Yep. Like,
and then what happens, right? It starts piling up, and now
it just blows everywhere. Become some kid's snot rag. Like, it's just ridiculous.
Yep. I mean, when we were, I've mentioned before, it's funny when people talk about their passions, like you have a passion for helping people.
Yeah.
Love that relationship connection and helping that.
Yeah.
My passion literally is organizing your numbers and your receipts and your books. I enjoy it. I feel some sort of set of gratification after it's all tidied up for you, and that you're asking questions about your financial status and you're getting good information back, because that is how long-term your business is going to succeed.
That long-term success for sure is a huge piece. But again, even like being on the personal end of it, the time saving, I get to have 3, 4, 5 hours of my month back to take care of my kids or take care of myself or do what I want to do with that time. And time is so valuable. It's irreplaceable, right? Like we think things are so valuable. We think money is so valuable, but really our time is the most valuable, precious thing that we have. And you get to provide that to someone. And so then not only are you providing them their time, if they need to invest that time back into their business, cool, then they get to go actually make more money and have a bigger impact, and then it's impacting their family. Your job is so impactful in such a larger grand scheme of things that I think people don't necessarily value or appreciate people such as yourself who help a business, foster.
Yeah, I mean, I so appreciate hearing you say that, because I do think that whenever I pick up a new client, I'm not thinking, well, that will help support my family or that will help support my needs, I automatically am thinking, I really can't wait to help them to realize how great it is to have somebody doing this for them.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to come to the realization, whether it took them right from the beginning of their business or it took them 5 or 6 years to finally cave and say, you know, when somebody actually finally passes it off to the bookkeeper,
Yeah.
they look back and they realize, wow,
Wow.
why did I not do this sooner?
Yeah.
I hated doing all of that. I did it every 6 months or a year. You know what I mean? Like, they weren't even keeping up with it usually
Yeah.
very well. And I've never had somebody hire me and say, well, I really regret that, and I'm going to take it back now.
I'm thankful I've never had that either, but they might at some point be like, I don't want to do this work. I regret this. I don't know. Hopefully not, but
Oh, I doubt it. I doubt it.
yeah.
So, I mean, one of the things in the work that you and I do
You
about,
saved me too much time. I just don't think I can handle this.
I really want it all back. I like the drudgery.
Yeah.
But in our work, like, part of the things that we figured out, and because of our business connection along with our personal connection, is that doing a little bit of analytics on your life also helps you do analytics on your business.
Right.
And the one thing I realized, and I don't know why I'd never thought to do this before, but was to look back at my client base. I was trying to analyze, where are my clients from? Where am I getting them from? What are the best, clients for me? And I came to the realization, and I remember telling you because I was so proud of it, is that I've been in business for, 20 some odd years. I've never lost a client.
Yeah.
Like, that was astonishing to me.
Yeah.
And it was only because of the sort of work that we'd been doing and thinking about, like, long-term goals, short-term goals, and where do I see myself? And, all of those things were part of the process. So, I loved every minute of it.
Yeah, thank you for that very sweet sentiment. I definitely it's very interesting when we do have that huge realization of wow, and you now can say that to people and show how awesome and you're committing to your self-confidence during changes in life, right? And those little changes can be day-to-day little increments, or we can this big term change that you realize, like, I've never lost a client in life. It's so freeing. Something that I realized actually through working with you and several other people is I help people find safety in the freedom they create, right? So you are now able to create the safety and the freedom that you crave and have always craved in your self-confidence. Like, there's so much freedom in finding in that self-confidence, and it's safe there. Like, there's freedom in safety, that we don't need to have one or the other. So
it's so true. I was thinking, one of the things that we learned, and I'm not ashamed to share this with the world, is that I am, my temperament, my personality is a rescuer. And to come to that realization, first of all, I thought I was just being helpful. Like, I really truly thought this person's asking for my help, but that's not what they were asking. They were either sharing their information because they were either venting, or there were a lot of reasons why. But they very rarely were coming out and asking me to help them. It was more about, I'm telling you what my issues are. And when you talk about being free, the fact that I no longer try to jump in and try and fix that problem or rescue that person or do whatever needs to, the fact that I can just step back and say, what is it that you need from me? Do you just want to talk? Do you just, is there something that I can do, versus let me hop in there and do it?
Let me tell you what I think you need to do, or what I think you want, right? Versus asking. And then even taking it a little step further really quickly is the boundary piece, right? Knowing that you're confident in who you are. You're like, if this person is a toxic person, now you get to say, it sounds like that's really frustrating. I hope you really get some help on that, right?
Yeah.
Or offering like a guidance in a gentle direction of this might be a great route for you, and leaving it at that, not investing your time and energy that you will never get back from people that are stuck in toxic patterns. Doesn't mean they don't deserve love, doesn't mean that they're not great people, just means in that moment it's not quite the right space and time. And owning that confidence of, wow, I'm still a good person, even when I'm having to set these firm boundaries with someone for right now until I can release those, right?
And that is the thing, Stephanie, because I think that my rescuing was that I thought that's what a good person did.
Yeah.
And by not doing it, it made me a bad person, right?
Well, I wouldn't say made you a bad person, but
in my
definitely
mind, that's what
it
I thought.
creates the cycle. It creates, it continues the patterns rather than breaking them and setting healthy ones.
Yeah.
The rescuer
And being able
tendencies.
to just say, and that was good. That was,
Yeah.
it was okay.
Yeah.
That I wasn't failing them as a friend, as a
Right.
wife, as a mother, as whatever.
And
know?
you yourself weren't failing. And that alone, that freedom in having that self-confidence.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing. I'm so grateful for this conversation. It put a huge light in my day. So thank you for being you. And I will always remember. I see your little sign back there.
Yes. Well, thank you.
You're very welcome.
I really appreciate everything that we've worked together on.
Absolutely.